1140.
The coolest guy. I don't want Malik Monk to get mad at me, but the coolest guy on the Sacramento Kings, DeMar DeRozan, is on another podcast doing his thing. And he goes on to explain his vet style. Chris, I'm going to throw it over to you. But as I said earlier in the show, just exciting to have somebody like this who's just more so in the public eye and just keeping Sacramento and the city at the forefront. And it's only going to get better once the season starts. And if these guys start winning, Chris, I do think we'll see something even different to the Beam Team season in people believing in them. Because look, life is a popularity contest. Let's just be honest, man. I mean, from high school on, that's just what it is. And the Kings, they got one of the popular kids, in my opinion, with DeMar DeRozan, and I do think it will help. And it doesn't hurt that he's a heck of a ball player too. So Chris Watkins, I'm throwing it over to you.
Yeah, it's good to see you got DeMar on his press run. You got Jordan McLaughlin out here. He's all over my Twitter feed, just posting workout videos. And then, yeah, Sabonis yesterday was at the premiere for the Netflix Starting Five show. So we got Kings all over the place doing big things. But like you said, DeMar on his little press run for his book is on every podcast in America. And he was on the Lou Will pod and definitely had some I honestly, this is probably my favorite thing that you can hear from a veteran on your team, especially someone with the cachet of DeMar DeRozan. When I hear something like this, I just can't help but lose my mind and think this is exactly what I want from a veteran on my team. And I just hope that the Kings embrace him and allow him to do what he clearly wants to do when it comes to leading the young guys on this roster. Here's DeMar talking about what he likes to do since becoming a veteran in this league.
Nah, my vet style, bro, like I just take in all the youngest more than anything, bro. Like wherever city we get to, it's mandatory. Meet me downstairs 15 minutes after you put your bag down. We're going to go eat. Ain't no chicken wings. Ain't no, like we're going to a restaurant. We going to like
chicken wings?
Healthy food? Bro. Nah, not even necessary. We going to a nice restaurant.
Nice restaurant. Okay, I got
get you a nice meal. We ain't about to do the hotel. We about to go to a nice.
Showing them the ropes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's one thing. I really embrace those dudes. Like if we in the city, we got a day off, I'm going to find something, cool and fun for us to do. We lock in. So that's kind of like my vet style. But, when it's anything on the court, I push them up to a breaking point. I talk crazy to them, and like I don't let up.
There you go. So there's DeMar essentially saying when he lands in any road city, likes to take the players out and especially the young guys and take them out to dinner. And first off, I just want to say that, that's great to hear specifically for this Kings situation, because we heard JaVale McGee kind of make some interesting comments throughout the summer of him talking about Keegan Murray. I can't remember exactly what platform it was on, but I think it might have been on with our friends Deuce and Mo. He essentially said that Keegan stays in the hotel and is very to himself and, might eat dinner in his room or get room service ordered and watch film or whatever. And not necessarily that he's being away from the team, but just, hey, he likes to keep to himself. And if nobody's going to push him to go out and enjoy a city or enjoy, I believe JaVale phrased it as enjoying the NBA lifestyle. Like you're a millionaire, you get to go to cities all across the country, go explore the cities. And it sounds like that's exactly what DeMar's MO is. And you just love to hear it. I mean, I think it's great for a guy to teach these guys, these young players, how to coordinate themselves in the league. How do you tip at a fancy restaurant, things like that, all the small stuff that you just don't know unless somebody who's been there, done that, has gone through it. That's exactly what this team needs. It's the thing that, we talked with HB, like he's the wear the suit guy, but It didn't really feel like HB was doing the other veteran things like taking guys under his wing, to a certain extent. Definitely HB helped with young guys, but it didn't sound like he really felt like, hey, that's a reason why I'm here. HB is 30 years old himself. He's probably thinking, I'm in my prime. I'm not in the spot where I'm, hey, young fella, let me tell you, sit down and let me tell you something. And I think DeMar is. He's 35 years old. He's 16 years into the NBA. He's fully accepting that role, and I think that's great. And funny enough, I told you, or I've said that I've actually did finish DeMar's book, and he actually mentions in his book a really, really interesting moment where, he obviously came up with humble beginnings, came from Compton, didn't really know, the syrup sandwiches and gram allowances, all of it.
Yeah.
He didn't really get that fancy lifestyle. And the first NBA teammate he ever got that really showed him the kind of what he's explaining was Jarrett Jack, who had a personal chef, and he went to Jarrett Jack's house, and, his personal chef cooked him up something. Of course, chefs, they just cook. They don't really tell you what's on the menu or anything.
Yeah.
DeMar says he got his plate and he was like, what is this sawdust on my plate? Ended up being couscous. But I say that story to say, like, I think he's trying to say, look, I went through this. I had to deal with, ignorance and just not knowing things. And guys showed me along the way, but it just kind of happened. I didn't know I was going to learn something. DeMar's actively trying to teach young guys that. And I just think, again, that's exactly what you want from a veteran. And I just think DeMar is going to be such a perfect fit for this team in so many different ways. As we've talked about, these guys needing a leader, needing a veteran, and needing somebody to show them and tell them, yell at them, say, look, what's going on right now is not acceptable. We can't lose to the Blazers. We can't lose to the Pistons. Can't lose to the Hornets at home. Sounds like DeMar is saying, off the floor, all good. I'll show you the ropes. But on the floor, you're going to hate me. You're going to really, really hate me. And I love to hear that.
Yeah, and look, the elephant in the room is you have to be a certain level, and this isn't a comparing DeMar DeRozan to Harrison Barnes thing, but at the same time, there is a level of, hey, DeMar DeRozan has done some things in this league, and he's just going to be looked at a little bit differently than a Harrison Barnes for a couple different reasons, and kind of some of the things that I said before. I mean, DeMar is a veteran, but he's doing it in a quote unquote cool way, right? And he knows the balance of, he understands the balance of having fun and enjoying yourself, but also taking care of business. So I think that is something that really all of the Kings players are gonna like to experience by playing with him. So yeah, it's definitely something that shows what the Kings have been missing. I think we couldn't really put our finger on it. How many conversations did we have about getting a dog and whether the dog has to be 6'2", whether the dog has to be a big, or does the dog have to play, or do you need an enforcer? And ultimately, we'll see how it happens because they haven't, laced them up and got on the court yet. But I do think that this is more of a happy middle ground as far as a guy that, like you said, he's going to push you and he's going to get on you. But at the same time, he's going to do it in a way that feels like it's a big brother thing and not I don't want to say father, but not try to sun people out here. But yeah, just do it in a way that I believe will be accepted, because the one thing he doesn't, I mean, even Harrison Barnes got a ring, but he also needs them. They both need each other. The Kings need DeMar, obviously on the court. They need his scoring and things like that. They also need him from a veteran standpoint. DeMar needs the Kings because it's been a while since he actually has played substantial basketball as far as playoff runs and having a chance to get back to where he was with the Raptors. So I think because those needs do line up pretty well, it could make for some beautiful music, Chris. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited for how the season's going to go. I mean, I just think that it's going to be the right fit. I think he's got all the right experiences that this team needs. And, I think, like you said, he's still hungry himself. And I think that's the thing that this team desperately needs is somebody who is dangling that carrot in front of them, that understands what the mission in front of them should be. And also, is going to show them exactly what, going all out means, is not leaving anything on the table, is going 100% every single night. And I hope that he leads by example. I hope that they follow him. And I think that there's legitimately something that every single player can take from what DeMar is going to show. I think he can teach De'Aaron probably more than he can teach anybody else on the team. And I'm really interested to see how that relationship goes. And I think later on in that podcast, DeMar did kind of mention that he talked with De'Aaron a couple weeks ago. So clearly they're still communicating, and I think they're working on their relationship. And to me, the season might the season could go as well as it can if DeMar and De'Aaron are on the same page, and if maybe they take their relationship off the floor to a different level, maybe it can translate on the floor as well. So I'm really excited just to see how the personal relationships of this team end up shaking out, and if maybe they have a little bit of a different personality than they had last year, maybe a little bit more of an edge or a little bit more of a here for business kind of tone to them.
Very similar to how Chris and Nate will make me feel old at times when they don't understand some of my references. You have DeMar DeRozan talking about how De'Aaron Fox and Devin Carter made him feel old. We will get to that sound on the other side. Also, should the Niners have seen this Brandon Ayuk regression coming a mile away? Maybe we did. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.